having used the oils for, since 2015, really, deep diving into essential oils, but then finding the difference with doTERRA now almost 2 years. So for me, it's so important that I have the science to back up people's questions, you know, their their doubts about how essential oils work, or especially how is this going to even help me? So I have a fair amount of, as I said, the science, but take screenshots. The video will be shared. I can even turn this into a PDF for you to have as a quick reference type. So what I'm going to focus on today, as the title already indicates, is that we're looking at how to increase your own vibrations using essential oils. So what does that even mean? So let me start with my own experiences with essential oils, and how they understand, how they just know what to do, because these are living, breathing entities. So this presentation is going to be divided into, one is about the whole body, the vibrations, what we vibrate at or how we vibrate, and then what are essential oils and how they help, or how they even work with the brain and the body. And then how do you bring the two together? So that's how I'm going to take our presentation today. You're going to be introduced to our beautiful blends, and why blends are more synergistic, and how they also have a certain science behind them. And then how do you get your hands on oils like this if you don't already have your own membership? So that's how the next 45 minutes will go. So, for me, as I said, I've been using oils. I was playing with them. It started with a soap making workshop. And, my mom's on the call today. When she called me up one day and she said, "What did you put in that potion?" And I was like, "Why, Ma?" And she said, "It was fantastic." And, when my mom said something was good, I realized that, okay, because she is discerning, a very discerning customer. And I said, I'm onto something here. And they were my lab rats. My family, my friends were my guinea pigs when I was putting things together. And a friend called me one day and she said, "I have a very dear friend. Would you make her a hamper of goodies for her birthday?" So I said, tell me things about your friend. Like, just tell me whatever comes to mind. Is she out, open? Is she introverted? Tell me things. So she was listing different things about her friend and said, "Oh, and by the way, she's got rheumatoid arthritis that really, really has her down, and that's the main thing that she's struggling with. Can you do something about that?" So I made a note of that. And then she said, "Oh, and also, by the way, this friend of mine had a nasty shock. She actually, found her mom had passed away, but days after. So, that was when she was fairly young." So I made a note of that, and that was part of like my research. I went back to my Excel that I had created, and I typed in rheumatoid arthritis, and the first oil that popped up was Angelica. And at that moment, I froze. I was looking at my Excel and I froze, because Angelica is an oil that understands death. And that really got me thinking. And I said, if rheumatoid arthritis, the shock from having, experienced what she did, had stored itself in her tissues and her joints. And that is how, that memory, that emotion had manifested in disease. So that's the path I went down. Hormonal balance is another one that's close to my heart, and emotional well-being. So the more I dive into this, and being a yoga teacher, I focus a lot on vibrations. We talk a lot about the state of being. And the healthy human body, your natural state is one of perfection. It's one of health. That is your true state. But again, the thoughts we think, or the people we sometimes expose ourselves to, their thinking, or even the toxins in your environment can have a serious effect on how your body vibrates. So just for an example, like just an experiment right now, think of something that makes you extremely happy. A memory, a food, maybe a person, something that can really stir up, these beautiful feelings inside of you. Just think about that. See it in all its colors, see it in all its glory. The sights, the sounds, the tastes, the smells, everything associated with this image that you have. And notice where in the body you feel it. Notice if you're feeling expansive or contracted. And now think of something not so great. Think of someone that maybe you're really, really mad at. Or think of something that you're feeling really low or sad about. And experience all of that. What do you see? What do you hear? Where do you feel this? And I'm guessing it's a contracted feeling. So these are things that are happening in our body all the time. From moment to moment, thought to thought. And we as human beings are very, very lucky. We are the only species that has the ability to choose what to think. So it all happens in the frontal cortex of the mind. We're the only species that has choice or can actually move thoughts from one to the other. So when a healthy human body is vibrating at say 62 to 72 megahertz, flu sets in if your body vibrations dip lower, like at 57 to 60. Just pay attention to these numbers. And of course, anything lower than that, and you're inviting a lot of destruction and decay. So why are we talking about, vibrations right now? Look at the emotions on one side, the higher emotions, and look at the lower ones. Below 20, of course, you're literally heading to the end of life. So essential oils play a really, really, really important part. I mean, you can look at food, you can look at, herbs, you can look at other things that also bring vibrations up. But scientific research has proven that essential oils are their vibrational frequency is the highest of any known substance. To the point of, if you look at the rose essential oil, it's about 320 megahertz is what rose vibrates at. But then this is very, very important to remember. When you're using essential oils, consistency is key. So get into the habit of using your essential oils for various different, now you'll see as we go along where and how you might want to use your oils, but use them regularly, get into the habit of making that a lifestyle. And more than anything, you want to make sure that your essential oils are pure. So this vibrational aspect of an essential oil is only true for the purest essential oil. And this is not a sales talk, this is science. Right? So if you have any essential oil that is not, if it's got fillers, or if it's adulterated, or if it's not even in the highest components or grown in the most optimal conditions, you're not getting the the frequencies that you think you are. Which is why doTERRA is the most trusted, because doTERRA set the standard for essential oil purity. So you're not getting synthetic, oils, you're not getting additives, you're not getting contaminants, and you're getting the best quality of each chemical component, that is also very important for the healing that you want to see in the system that you're supporting. Another thing that will really help you trust the oil that you're using in doTERRA is we have something called source to you. So every bottle that you have, when you turn it over, there's a code, and you can type that code into the sourcetoyou.com website, and it gives you the whole history of your oil. So that's how much credibility the oil has, and that's how literally the founders have put their money where their mouth is. And you can trust that because you're putting this, you're using this with the intent of keeping your body healthy, keeping your mind healthy, and vibrating at a certain higher frequency. Yeah. Now I've just got a little bit of research. I did a lot of deep diving to see, how our oils fare frequency wise. And I felt this was mind blowing. Look at, yeah, I can see Suzanne's eyes lighting up. Look at the frequencies of our oils because of their purity. So our blends, can vibrate anywhere from say 80 megahertz. Some of them are maybe a little lower, but right up to 320. Sandalwood is at 96. So in the slides that follow, I'm going to also show you some of the blends and what they're going to help you support, and what emotion they're going to be able to move up that value chain of the frequency chart that you just saw. So I urge you to, when you finish with the class and you're sitting to look at your own oil collection that you have, or the emotion that you're dealing with, or the health issue or the relationship issue that you're dealing with, go back to these slides and just kind of consult with whoever invited you here today, so you can choose the oils that will make sense for you. So let me, I think take a snapshot of this if you like. This will help going forward. Okay, so rose was part of our BOGO box last month, and all is not lost, because I know rose is the most expensive oil one can ever think of. So what doTERRA has done is, because again, it's important, right? They say healing one person at a time, one drop at a time. So they want to make these oils accessible. Even though our oils are expensive, it's a price per drop that makes it a lot more, literally you get a bang for your buck. But they've also got the rose in a roll-on. So I know my roll-ons last me like more than a year. I've had my Neroli roll-on, and I use it very, very often, and it's still going strong. So look for options that fit your pocket. Look for ways in which to be able to stretch your oil. But rose is definitely something that you really want to look at. That 320 megahertz. So what did I do for that girl? The girl with the trauma in her joints. I used a mix of lemongrass, frankincense for the inflammation. I looked at it from the physical, but I also needed to look at it from the emotional and the spiritual. So she did get angelica, and rose is a beautiful oil to soothe the heart. So you want to keep rose handy. So sometimes people don't have an oil. I might say, okay, do you have any kind of rose water at home till you get your oils? So a face mist, rose mist, kind of cold compress, just to breathe in the fragrance of rose. So why and how, what are these essential oils? So very, very simply, an essential oil is extract, and a plant extract. And it's a very concentrated plant extract. These molecules that come, the essential oil molecules are volatile. That means that they're extremely powerful, and they're aromatic. That means they're light and they diffuse into the air. So you walk into a room in which maybe you just opened a bottle of peppermint, and you will smell it. It's that powerful, because these molecules are really, really light. But the good thing about them is that they're extremely safe. There are no side effects, and that these oils offer you what they would do for the plants. They're basically the plant's immune system in a bottle for us. 3 ways to use an oil, and I'm again going to show you how it works. So one way to use an essential oil is by, as I said, just breathing it in. You could use it in a diffuser. You can use it, if you don't have a diffuser, you have maybe, Himalayan rock salt or pink salt. Put a couple of drops in there, and that again starts to serve as a hold oil for the essential oil to keep diffusing slower. Yeah, so aromatically is one, topically is the other. That means you're applying it on the body. Now, what you hear in these slides that, or see in the slides here are doTERRA specific. because we know the quality and the purity of our oils. We can vouch for, an oil being able to be used neat. That means you don't need to mix it with anything else. Some oils might be very hot, so you need to then mix it with a carrier oil, maybe like the fractionated coconut oil that we have, that does not have a smell, so it doesn't take away from the essential oil. But I cannot guarantee that if you use, our lavender, some other lavender, that it's not going to burn your skin or cause a rash. What we're talking about right now is doTERRA. And the same goes for the internal use of essential oils. In doTERRA, you can see the ATI code. So again, every bottle has its, you can go to the website, you can look at what each oil, is good for, and you'll see these codes. The bottles also have supplementation details for you. And only a set number are safe for internal use. So you might either, want to put that in a veggie capsule. Some less hot oils, you can put a drop or two in your water or your tea. Often internal oils need very, very, very little. So you might just need a toothpick amount of essential oil. So keep these in mind again as we go through the slides. Make your notes of certain oils that call to you. So now the how. Now for the science piece. Think of it this way, right? These essential oil molecules are so small that they can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier is like this filter, and it's got these really tightly woven molecules together with small spaces that only a few things can pass through. Essential oils is one of them. Very, very few drugs can. So that means essential oils can get to your brain faster than even some medication. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Another thing that essential oils, can do is, because they're fat soluble, they easily work with the fat, fat cells, because the brain cells are comprised of fat. So fat dissolves in fat, which is why we use essential oils with a carrier oil for it to be able to mix and blend and dissolve in it. So how do cells get diseased is that if they are deprived of oxygen, they're unable to get the nutrients that they need, or unable to get rid of the waste that is inside of them. So when that happens, your essential oil is able to get through that cell membrane. And when it gets through the cell membrane, it's working on and in that cell. It increases the permeability of the cell. It changes sometimes the structure of the cell or the functionality of the cell, making it so much easier for the cell to actually get the work done, right? So it might activate, it might inhibit, it might modulate. I know you've heard of things like hormones and neurotransmitters. So these are chemical messengers that work with your cell membranes, receptors on these cell membranes. So for example, if you have lavender, the chemical component linalool, I think I'm pronouncing it all wrong. That's why my chemistry gets a little linalool. So that's the chemical component in lavender that can actually work with the cell receptor for GABA. And GABA is a neurotransmitter that helps to calm the stress response in the body. So it kind of creates that. So lavender goes in and says, oh, what do I need to do? Oh, okay, I need to be able to work with GABA and create more opportunity for GABA to work on the cells. So each of these oils has certain, tasks and certain, either, as I said, they either inhibit or they provide opportunity for these neurotransmitters and hormones to attach themselves to the receptors on the cells. Yeah, so far so good. Give me a thumbs up if everyone's okay. Thank you. Yeah. Now this is really very, very important. This is again us going back to the efficiency of using an essential oil, the ease of using an essential oil, and the power of essential oils because of their volatile aromatic nature. EOs, these are essential oils, can directly access your brain through smell. So even without having to apply the oil, if you just open your bottle and take a whiff, you are already getting way past the blood-brain barrier. Why? Why? Because in the olfactory system, that's the only, so if you look at the olfactory system, that part is the only part in the body where your brain is actually exposed to the environment. Otherwise, there are layers and layers and layers of cells that prevent anything from going past the blood-brain barrier into the brain. So your olfactory system is like a sure fit hack for any kind of immediate help that you need. The other thing to remember is that if you know, apart from just breathing in the oil and it making its way to the brain, you've also inhaled essential oils into the lungs. And from there, it makes its way to the blood. So you're getting, again, you know, from two angles, you're getting this one action working in the body. And how fast does it work? I've got some animations going on. Another thing that's really good and works for us when we're looking at vibrations is that smell is the only sense. I mean, apart from if you're looking visual, auditory, all of that, smell is the only sense that gets to the brain first. It bypasses a whole lot of, you know, a whole lot of different pathways and makes its way right to the emotional center of the brain, which is your limbic system. So that's the you know, the science that we're looking at. 22 seconds for the molecules to reach the brain. 2 minutes in the bloodstream. 20 minutes later, it's everywhere. So if you know, I'm constantly oil sniffing throughout the day. There's something or the other in different spaces in my house. There's oils in my handbag, there's oils in the bathroom, there's oils everywhere. Amazing hacks that you can use. I have a couple of hacks for you here. Okay, so one, now think about this. So I've been doing a lot of research on oils in the brain, as you can see. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling like terribly like overstimulated, okay, it's the right hemisphere that is doing all the work, which is why perhaps you can't think and you're all over the place. So what you might want to do then is breathe in through the left nostril, as easy as that. And take an oil, of course, that is soothing, that's going to, you know, open up the left hemisphere, but not aggravate it to an extent that it's going to compete with the right. So lavender or an orange or something that calls to you. For me, it's always neroli. That just seems to have been my oil. Left nostril balances out both hemispheres. The second one is the earlobes. So you want to be also looking at essential oils like acupuncture without the needles. So some people actually use both, and you get a lot more, of course, you know, you get the benefit of the acupuncture needle, but you also get the benefit of the oil. But what they've also found is when you use essential oils in place of the acupuncture needle, it also enhances the energy of those points. So we're looking at on the earlobes. If you massage the right, you don't want to put oils in the ear canal or in the nose or in the eye. You don't want to put them in any sensitive spaces. But on the earlobes, if you massage the right lobe, you're activating the opposite side of the brain and the pituitary gland, which is your master hormone. Okay. And if you massage the left earlobe, you're balancing out the right brain and the pineal gland, which is responsible for your sleep hormone. So these are some of the hacks that I use. The third thing, of course, is I would say when in doubt, the one place that you can use an essential oil without any worries is just behind the ear, the bony part behind the ear. It's where the vagus nerve passes. And your vagus nerve controls, again, it connects from your digestive system to the stem of the brain. And it's the most important pathway for your parasympathetic nervous system to kick you into that rest and digest versus being in that stress response. So just a little bit of soothing essential oil on the bony part behind the ear. It's called the mastoid bone. So these are your 3 acupoints to use your oils topically. There are many others. There are many other places, On the feet, there are tons of different points that you can use essential oils. But these are three that I thought I would share with you today till you do your own deeper dive. Now for our oils, any questions on the science so far, Suzanne, Becky? Anything that needs, we're all good?
I think everybody's just stunned with this information because most people don't think about the oils in association with this. So it's really, really great.
Thank you. I was hoping it wasn't too much.
I just think it's just so phenomenal. I love the idea of the earlobes with the right and the left hemisphere of the brain. I wanted to share, my mom bought me a book a long time ago called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And being a graphic designer, you actually think on one side of the brain versus the other. And to be able to access both hemispheres of the brain actually will have you be analytical and creative at the same time. So I think a lot of people who are musically inclined tend to be able to access that because they have to read the music to be able to. I'm wondering how if these oils could actually help people access those creative sides of them more, it's just really interesting. Those are some of the thoughts.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Very good.
I'm not sure. Are we recording, Suzanne? I don't see a record button.
No, I've got it. You probably don't see it. I've got the recording going.
Cool. So Becky, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole next and do some research on that piece too. Yeah. So I picked a couple of our oils, to actually give you the opportunity, because I know, some of us are already, have been around for a while. Some of us have, like, this is our first class with the doTERRA Incredible India team. So depending on where you are, I said, let me give you an exposure to some oils you might not have thought of, adding to your library or to your medicine cabinet. So this is my all-time favorite because, again, as I said, blends are, again, why do you want to use blends? It's because when you use, 2 or 3 oils together, they have a synergistic quality about them. One will balance out some, some oil that might have a little more stronger response in the body and even it out. Some might just enhance another oil's, ability to do a certain thing. So each of these bottles that you're looking at here are part of our emotional aromatherapy kit. And I've been really lucky that, the people on my team are mainly healers. There are a lot of them that are doing energy work, that are doing work, for emotional healing. So this is something that they absolutely love. And I will take you through each of these oils and show you how they work with the vibrations that we just looked at. Yeah? So we've got these, and I've put the prices. These are approximate INR prices as of today, based on conversion, and give or take, you might have, some of the taxes to take care of for that. Now, it doesn't come with this diffuser as the enrollment kit, but it just comes by itself with these 6 bottles. Now, let's look at the first one. And this was the one, I want you to just keep this in mind because each of the oils, of course, fall under certain kind of families. We've got the citrus family, we've got the spice, we've got the herbs, the trees, the florals, of course, and the mints. And each of these have certain qualities and vibrational effects on the body and mind. So this is console, and from the name, that it is to help deal with emotions of grief, sadness. And grief doesn't necessarily mean the loss of someone. It could be the loss of maybe, a job. It could be the loss of a home. It could be a loss of anything that's causing you to vibrate at that lower frequency. And you might think, yeah, but these oils are not going to bring anybody back. It's not going to change anything. It's going to change the way you feel. And, I have a teacher called Elizabeth Ashley, and she was the one that I started my, my deep dive into essential oils with. And I had this complicated case where somebody had every system in her body was out of whack. And I said, I don't know what oils to give her. And she said, just start with the mood. Just start with the mood. When someone is struggling with, cancer or struggling with something that's literally a very bad prognosis, helping them just feel a little better gives them that chance to see choice, to have hope, to step back a little bit and be able to, as I said, just see what can be possible. So look at these beautiful oils. You've got frankincense in here. You've got ylang ylang, which is excellent for that feeling of palpitations that might accompany anything with, the sadness in the heart. And of course, it has rose. So this would definitely be a big recommendation that I would make. Let me just move this around so I can see my screen better. So console for any kind of low vibration of grief and sadness at 75 megahertz. Forgive. Now again, this is so much beautiful research. So as I said, remember, essential oils are doing for you what they do for the plant. And what you want to do is look at the plant in its habitat. Like, I don't know how many of you were here for Name That Oil, but Becky showed us the myrrh plant. And she said the more, disheveled or ragged the plant looks, the more it's able to give of itself, because that's what it's doing for itself in that harsh environment. So when you look at any of the firs or the spruces or the pine, the idea is that it's really good to be able to give you that sense of just letting go, outgrowing something, moving on, just by the way they tend to, propagate. I love forgive. It smells terrible to me, so I put it on the bottom of my feet. But it has arborvitae, which is the tree of life. And for me, that just has a lot of, metaphoric symbolism as well. And just the thought, remember, thoughts create vibrations too. So knowing these oils, getting into, the ins of them, the mind of the oil can also stir up certain beliefs, change certain expectations in your mind. Another thing that's really good about this is that it has myrrh, right? So again, juniper berry, so it helps move things along, to let go. And look, anger is something that vibrates at 150 megahertz. So you definitely want to have a blend like this that has a combination of oils that are vibrating at much, much, much higher frequencies. And how is that happening? It's kind of creating that vibration in the body to lift your frequency. I had to share some of the science so that it wouldn't just say woohoo. So motivate. Now we've got motivate and we've got passion in the next slide. So how are these different? So motivate, if you see again, it's more for, negative emotions of doubt, cynicism. It might come from a place of fear. It might come from a place of guilt. And each of us have different definitions for these emotions. What I might see as guilt might be someone else's shame. It doesn't matter what you call it. You just know and you feel it in your body, and you know it's a contracted vibration. It's not an open out, expansive vibration. So motivate, again, because of the peppermint, because of the orange citrus family in there, it uplifts. It brings you up. It raises you up. Yeah. Passion, on the other hand, is for apathy. So you really want to stir up something to get, get going, move yourself up to frequencies and vibrations of, going after what you want, the joy, the passion, the love for something. So this is the essential oil for that. And it's got cinnamon, it's got ginger, it's got clove, it's got all the spices. Yeah. And of course, it can also have the whole romantic love kind of frequency that it wants to stir up inside of you when things are maybe meh in a relationship. So passion would be an oil you can use. This one of, cheer. So again, cheer, passion, motivate your thinking. What's the difference between these oils? It's in the blend. And it's in the targeted negative emotion that you want to be able to move towards a more positive state of mind, of being, of actually feeling. And you can't help but then attract a lot more of that, because when your mind's in that space, you are seeing a lot more of what it is that you're feeling. And then that just accentuates. So over here, you're looking at, moving any kind of feeling of being low, blue, And I'm thinking again, in weather like in winter, this might be an area you might want to look at. You might want to use a lot more of the lemons, the oranges, a bit of the spice like the nutmeg and the ginger in this blend to bring. So some people feel, like the whole seasonal disorder. So this might be a good one to help lift that spirit, get them to vibrate at a higher frequency. And of course, peace. So in the yogic tradition, peace is where it's absolute bliss when you have arrived at that place of nirvana. Work in progress, but an essential oil can help. Even if you're catching glimpses of that peace every now and then. Remember, essential oils, use them regularly. It's like your meditation practice. It's like your prayer. So I was studying some of Candace Pert's work this morning, and she talks a lot about molecules of emotion. And she was saying, meditation and prayer create a kind of like a sensation in the frontal cortex where everything is just okay. So even emotions that are rising up, that are lower frequencies, that are sadder frequencies, that are contracted frequencies, the the when you're taking your head out of taking your brain out of your head and into your body, you're allowing these things to just dissipate gently and slowly come to the surface and move out. So again, the essential oils are helping you do that, clear out the gunk, work with the cell receptors, create that kind of opportunity for the cells to heal. And cells store emotions, cells store memories, cells store trauma. So this is where we're coming from as far as this essential oil kit goes. I was chatting with Suzanne. We were looking to pick some of our other oils that are like really supportive in cases like this of emotional turmoil. Balance is definitely one of them. And Dr. Hill had a presentation a couple of years ago where what you see on the left is a blood sample from this individual, right? His blood, you can see that the cells are all stuck together, and they're literally very, very, the resolution of the slide is all whatever. I've lost the words for that. But 30 seconds after applying balance on the feet, because remember, reflexology points on the feet are extremely effective too. This was the blood sample of the same person 30 seconds later. So, balance has, again, frankincense, which, because of the small size of the molecules, right through the blood-brain barrier, again, chamomile, it's healing. It's just the most beautiful oil that, if you look at the emotional aspect of these oils, they understand. It's just like they just kind of get you. Yeah. Citrus bliss. I like citrus bliss. I'll tell you why. Now, it's got all of the orange family in, especially bergamot. And bergamot is great for, again, lifting very, very, very low moods. It's like your Earl Grey tea, but you'll have to have bucket loads of Earl Grey tea, in lieu of just maybe a drop or two of bergamot. So I have citrus bliss, at home all the time. Beautiful, beautiful blend. And the third one, we picked 4. Adaptive is, again, we have it in so many different forms. We have it in the roll-on, so easy, take it around with you. It's already pre-mixed. You just use it whenever you're feeling real anxiety. So again, maybe this could be an oil for your earlobes as well. And Serenity is the lavender, mixed with a whole lot of other beautiful supportive oils just to enhance your rest, to stem the anxiety, to help you sleep, to give you that rest that you need. And just by the name, you know that it has your back. So don't think of an oil that's going to put you to sleep as one that's going to lower your vibration. It's going to up the vibration to one of peace, or rest, or joy, or acceptance. And even when you work with yourself, maybe you're doing some journaling or inner work, there's a difference between acceptance and tolerance, isn't there? So when you're looking at these frequencies, it's like a radio, you're dialing up the frequency like a dial. When you're at acceptance, that's forgive. When you're in tolerance, perhaps there's a little bit of resentment or anger brewing under there. So it's still a low vibration. This one I love, and I know it's very expensive, but my students love it. When we had live classes, like face-to-face classes, I used to diffuse this in the yoga room. And then at the end in their shavasana, they would all get a little bit of whiff of this in their shavasana when I would go to them with one of these oils on my palm. So remember what I talked about with Candace Pert's research, meditation and any kind of quietening mindfulness practice also helps raise this vibration that we're talking about. So couple that with your essential oils that have been strategically formulated, and you have this beautiful blend. So it depends on, like, how do I use it in class? So sometimes like a line is, maybe something I might use at the beginning of class when you're centering. So if you're starting off something, you just want to center yourself, use a line. But somewhere in the middle of your practice, say, you want to just say a shavasana, I would use the steadying. But my favorite of the yoga blend is the enlightening blend. Again, I think I have a propensity to the citrus family. I don't care too much for the cedars, and that is again because maybe the way an essential oil has been registered in my limbic brain, in my emotional center. Certain smells are associated to certain emotions. So maybe the citrus family have greater, happier memories in my mind than the cedars or the musks. Whereas someone else might love the musk and not like the lavenders. So it all boils down to how these smells have been associated in your mind to certain memories. Remember, smell is the first one that makes it to the brain. So leverage your sense of smell. So I know Suzanne said that I spend a lot of time studying. I do, and this is, if you're looking at, doing more work, if you're a healer on the group, or if you just want to do it for yourself, this book is just amazing. It's called Essential Emotions. This is the 10th edition that's out. It has an emotional wheel. So one side has the positive emotions, one side has the negative emotions, and the essential oils recommended, against each of those states. The book also has an app. I prefer the e-version of the book than the app. And this is the Facebook page that you can join. It's it's a beautiful training space with a lot of free information. I'll give you a little glimpse of the book before we end. So these are 3 of my favorite oils for, again, raising vibrations, healing emotions. Helichrysum. So what this book does is they tell you about each of these oils from the emotional aspect. To give you a small example, they talked about oregano. They said oregano is we know it on the physical level as being one for candida, busting this kind of bug or healing your digestive system from this, that, or the other. But if you look at it from the vibration or the frequency or the emotion, oregano is something that you might need if you tend to think you're always right. If you think that you know it all. So oregano is a humbling oil. So if you're working with, say, your Manipura chakra, if you're working with your digestive system, that is the seat of the ego. So it just made so much sense that, all right, my digestive system, and here goes oregano. So similarly, this book features each of these oils that we have, all of our doTERRA oils, including the blends, and how and what to blend them with, which oils would support it, which ones would go well with it. And they talk about everything from guilt to ancestral, say chains that you're carrying or burdens that you're carrying, and how these oils will help ease that and move you to higher vibrations. So if you haven't already, get the e-version of the book, Essential Emotions. just get the e-version of the book. It's a very, very, very useful book. And of course, Andy and Natalie's Facebook page. So how do you get these beautiful oils? One is, of course, you can buy them retail through whoever invited you here tonight. More than anything, you can have that benefit of having that 25% off by having your own membership. So, you're ordering anytime you want at that 25% off. You can add to your wholesale membership a loyalty rewards program, like you would say at a Shoppers Stop, because what and how does that benefit you is that for every time you purchase, say 50 PV, which is like point value, approximately like 50 USD. So every time you buy 50 USD worth of oils, those points are credited to your account. And let me show you this slide. The longer you stay, on your loyalty rewards program, the more you keep getting back in percentage from your purchases. Because doTERRA believes that, it's important for you to have, number one, the benefit of price, and also the independence to be able to just get the oils you want when you want. And they reward, loyalty. So that's where the loyalty rewards program comes from. I'm so excited because in the time that I've been with doTERRA, I now get not just the 30% back on my purchases, but I also get the 25% wholesale price. So I'm getting 55% off on my oils. So that makes sense to me now, Suzanne and Becky. I heard you guys say it so often, but now it makes sense to me because I'm experiencing that deep discount. The third way in which you can engage with us is to be a wellness advocate. And you will have your niche, you'll have your passion, you'll have your area that you want to share. Like Daljit's, talking about detoxing and skin. JC talks about mothers and babies. There's so many of you here that have your own niche that that you can share with and your target audience that you can share with. So, we're here to support you. We meet every Thursday. There's classes like this, from basic introduction classes to deeper specialty classes like this. So it's a place to learn, it's a place to grow, it's a place to share. So, these are ways in which you can start. These are our enrollment kits that we have, on offer at the moment. But I know Suzanne's going to take you through some of those amazing promos that are happening for December, for Christmas. But again, take a screenshot, or the person who invited you will, be able to guide you into which of these enrollment kits would best suit you. Yeah. So these are again some of the kits that we have. And the person that you're signing up with will need this information from you, to make your membership happen. So when you buy an enrollment kit, your membership fee of about 37 USD, which includes the tax, is absorbed, it's taken care of. So all you need then is the kit to be able to, work like a wellness doTERRA wellness advocate, like many of us on this call tonight.